right, we're here with Max Leete. You're kind of fresh off your first appearance to the NCAA tournament. Probably didn't go, I'm sure as you planned, but how did that experience, get you ready and prepare you and maybe make you hungry for this season?
Yeah, totally. The national tournament this year was definitely a great learning experience. Like you said, it definitely didn't have the results that I worked all year for. But something Brelly always says is 365 days from now, you wish you started tomorrow, which kind of just means like you only have so much time before the next year. So it's been a really big part of my spring training, transitioning into my summer training, just keeping the national tournament and my All American and national podium goals in the forefront of my mind as I've gone through my training cycles. And it's been a great motivator. I got a great experience getting to compete against some of the best guys on the biggest stage, and I just got a taste of it. And it just makes me more and more excited for like not even the national tournament next year, but this entire upcoming next season. I'm excited to compete as aggressively and as dominantly as I've been doing in the past, but in open tournaments this year in different formats where I get to wrestle some of the other best guys in the country. But I'm just getting ready. It's definitely a great motivator. It's made me hungry, and it just definitely laid the groundwork for how I've been training ever since and how I'm going to train up into the season.
And to get to the tournament, the EIWA takes five guys. You're in the fifth place match against a guy who's an ex-teammate. What's kind of your mentality going into that match?
Yeah, I was actually just watching some film back from the EIWA tournament and thinking back about what that experience was like. And in hindsight, after watching my Conti semis match, the match before the fifth and sixth place, that's a match I was actually pretty mad I couldn't get back at the end of the season because I was really close to being in that third and fourth spot. So then after losing a close match in the IWA tournament, transitioning to having to wrestle an old teammate is obviously definitely more emotionally loaded. And I've definitely wrestled this guy, not New England finals, wrestle off at American, tournament while I was at American. We've had great back and forth match. He's a great athlete. And so I definitely just had to lock in. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I was working all year towards. At that point in the year, you have to earn it. You have to. No one's going to give you any matches at the EIWA tournament. Everyone has the same goals, and so at that point, it was just working a little harder in those 50-50 positions and working a little harder to ride someone hard on top. That was a big transition for me towards the end of the year. Was getting better riding skills on top, not just going to hold on, cling, but also just learn how to force get his appendage tied up, whether that's his arm or his leg. Just something to ride tough on top, secure that riding time, but staying calm and focused was my biggest thing in the EIWA tournament. I just kept on like breathing to myself, like, and I remember like vividly doing that like for the first time kind of in the EIWA tournament. But as I got to that fifth and sixth match, I just caught myself breathing and calm and trusting my coaching staff, trusting my training, and just I knew I'd done all the right work up until that point, and so it was just about finishing there.
And you actually talk about breathing and calm. One of the guys that works for us at Intermat, Austin Summer, he did a story on you, I think last summer. And one of the things I saw in there was your interest in yoga. I saw that as well in your bio on the school website. I can see why that would be, something that is helpful to high-level wrestlers. Just kind of talk more about yoga and your experience with it.
Yeah, so wrestling is definitely different than a lot of other NCAA sports, even like the ones we have here at American. It's a very individualized sport, and while there's a lot of great team elements like rooting for your teammates on the side of a dual meet and doing a lot of team aspects for dual meets and even team tournaments sometimes, but the individual aspect of the sport puts a lot of responsibility and importance on the athlete taking care of their own body. And a big transition, this past year I moved up from 125 to 133, and that was a big transition with me and my strength coaches getting me stronger in different areas, making sure that in my upper body positions where I feel confident, I'm feeling strong there. And a big transition for me was staying flexible, staying with my yoga stuff, but a big part of it is wrestling is a lot of physical, it's a lot of technicality, but it's a lot of mental too. So being able to stay calm and just trust your training, trust your coaching staff, in an easy match where you're up 8-0 and you just have to kind of get more takedowns and you're getting points for the team, or if it's a close match in overtime to go to the national tournament, just staying calm, being able to keep your breath and trust yourself and your coaches. That's a big part of the yoga that I think transitions into my NCAA wrestling.
All right, so anybody that's seen you wrestle knows that it's a different style, because of your eye condition. You have contact with your opponent at all times. When I don't know, when did that kind of develop? That wasn't something you always did throughout competition, was it? When did that develop?
So that started midway through high school. I had done a lot of my training in Boston with Mustafa Abdurakhmanov, who's actually an AU alum, who's the Harvard coach at he's the assistant coach at Harvard University now. And there was a big transition point when I was getting into more high level wrestling, getting ready for Fargo, bigger tournaments where like the stakes are a little higher, the competition's a little tougher. And at that point, through all of our training, he had always been very aware of my eyes. He'd always been a great coach with like making sure I know where my glasses are for even like technical things in the room. But a big transition was like his first priority was safety. And he was just like, as you get to the higher levels, like you don't want to be like somewhere on the mat and get caught off guard and like bang your head. That was like his initial thought. But as I've transitioned to college, the NCAA rule has definitely allowed me to stay in contact with the person, which is helpful because once they leave, they're out of my line of sight. And there's been instances where I'm out of bounds and I'm still like wrestling in, and I've been really lucky, honestly. The other coaches and the refs have been super accommodating. There's rarely any flack of any kind, and it's just an equalizer in my opinion. Like I think it just makes it an equal playing field, and it's not like someone starting in with like a headlock or an underhook. We're starting in an equal position, and like 90% of the time, because they don't know the rules, they're usually squeezing my hand, which is like not against the rules, but I'm not really one to say anything. So when we're like here, there's usually squeezing hand, and it's just like once the whistle starts, wrestling's wrestling. And I've been training since I've been 5, 6 years old, so it's been a long time of me understanding the mat, understanding the circle, out of bounds rules. I'm a well-versed freestyle wrestler, so I'm very aware of the edge, and it's something me and my coaching staff here, specifically with Joey Dance, we work on quite a lot. And it's been pretty interesting in college seeing the difference and seeing it even at the national tournament. But it's been a pretty seamless transition, and it definitely makes an even playing field, and it's definitely allowed me to have the success that I've had so far.
All right. Is there anything else that you want people to know about yourself or the wrestling program, anything in general?
Not really, other than this next year after my undergrad, I'm taking the LSAT, trying to go to law school right after my undergrad here at American, and I'm planning on staying at American for law school. That would be the goal, but that's what's next. Training.
Excellent.